Humiliate students? Get your teaching license revoked. By Untitled. First things first, I am on mobile, apologies for any grammatical mistakes. I have this teacher, let's call her ML, Mrs. L. Now, ML teaches earth science at my school. Everyone knows her to be one of the bitchiest people on the school's payroll, and she knows it. She constantly harasses and calls out students on the stupidest shit and claims to care about mental health when, in reality, she doesn't. She cares about the illusion of being kind, which is obvious when she told a kid crying in her class to sit outside in the hall and do their work. When the student asked to go to the nurse instead, ML shook her head, and smiled down at the girl, and said no, you need to get the work done. You have a D, you have to bring it up. In front of the whole class. Anyway, I'm getting ahead of myself. One day, she made the mistake of asking me if I had taken my ADHD medicine that day. I shook my head, and she laughed and said I can tell. This urinated me off. I looked it up, and apparently a teacher can get their teaching license revoked if they breach a student's confidentiality like she had just done. I decided that I was done being strung around by this shit-eating idiot and decided to take action. I started by filming everything. I got an SD card, just for this. I put my phone in her cell phone caddy, something with pockets that she hung up and sharpied over, and pressed record. I did this every day for about a month. I decided I was ready when she yelled at me in front of everyone for making a small side comment, "That's some shade you're throwing at us," and brought everything I had found to my guidance counselor. She was appalled. She brought it to the principal, and next came a few weeks of meetings and her getting urinated at me. The next week, she was gone. Summary: teacher regularly bullies and harasses students, is fired thanks to evidence of it. Try to ruin my social life. Consider your reputation ruined and your job non-existent. By that sloth called Sid. So I posted the backstory for the post on r/entitled people, we'll include a link in the comments. Here's a bit anyway. So, 6 months ago a kid, around 10 years old, decided he liked my skateboard and tried to take it by force. I let my instincts get the better of me and jerked my hands up, causing the kid to hit his chin on my skateboard. His mom got mad at me. Kid tried breaking the skateboard, and his mom encouraged him. They completely shattered it and kept the pieces. They were anyway isolated in the community, but it appeared that the M had a good reputation otherwise and with the school. She dropped hints of my disgusting behavior and how I should be kept at bay and BS like that to the point where teachers started to treat me differently. I'm not so proud of this next bit, but, I cried guys. This mom's single-handed year was in the process of ruining my life and I could do nothing but watch. However, my spite for this despicable family exceeded my sorrow experienced due to my crumbling social life and formulated a means of vengeance. Here's where the spice is added. I managed to overhear the talking not hard, he is obnoxiously loud, about his mom being a senior manager at Zix Investments and could expel anyone she wanted with a phone call. This sort of banter had been going on for a while now, but I had finally found out some more info. And boy, was I lucky. My uncle, an investor, just happened to own a major equity stake in said company and was an advisor of the CEO. It's quite a small company that was just getting started, but I could tell was a major source of income for the family as his dad was an alcoholic infamous in the neighborhood. I'm quite close with my uncle, he's like the fourth member of our family. He comes around often. As the day went by, I started inquiring more about this company. Turns out, the founder asks him for opinions on who to hire. I inquire about the employees of this company and who he'd consider firing. Yes, quite direct, but keep in mind I was desperate, and he said quite a few. Turns out he didn't approve of the managers. I saw my opening. I told him about my incident with the M and he was enraged. He couldn't believe an employee could be so inhumane and misguided, and in his rage I told him about my social life as well. Here comes phase 2. While my life was slowly melting away at the candle, I still had friends. Hard to believe, I know. I think you see where this is going. We started to spread rumors around school. Our school is a prominent LGBTQ supporter, so we spread the news he was homophobic. I don't think you'll ever truly get how this broke him. I started to cry at school and spread rumors like he called me a F and he said being homosexual is blasphemy, which made everyone somewhat wary about him. His friends just stopped talking to him and were unsociable for a while. He was bewildered, not exactly informed about the happenings, and still tried talking to them. They just wouldn't respond. I tell you, his expressions were priceless. But this was the turning point. I caught him in a bad mood. A teacher seemed to have failed him and he was cussing randomly. So, I got out my phone and began to deal. Karma hits hard. I managed a tape of him calling several girls lesbos and a few teachers F. Dear reader, I have 570 followers, all of them my friends and or classmates. That was my story. After that happened, you might as well consider his reputation broken. He was called on by the principal, received a week's suspension, and any attempts to contact the school during this period was shunned. His mom would try to arrange meetings but was shunned. They were anyway isolated in the neighborhood, but now, it was worse. People would clown them in public, give them dirty looks and not help them at all. From moving their car slightly to the left to sending schoolwork. DM was quite nasty in public and would often spit at or have breakdowns in public. This carried on to the workplace and was eventually fired. Her reputation was ruined. Other companies were alerted of this by several of my contacts in the neighborhood, and we caught wind that she was leaving the state. TLDR, M tries to ruin my social life, I get her son suspended, ruin his social life, get her fired, destroy her reputation and end up with her not finding any jobs in the state, causing her to move. Never mess with someone who handles your food. By Crunk 5. I used to work at a restaurant in quite an affluent area and the usual clientele was somewhat upper class. Most of the time customers were fine, but we did get the odd entitled asshole. I'm on a breakfast, lunch shift and these two ladies come in. We'll call them Rude Hag, RH, and the other embarrassed friend, F. Now RH and F have come in late morning, like 11:15ish, but decide it's too late for breakfast, they want lunch. I try to explain that the kitchen wasn't yet serving lunch, but I'd be happy to take a drink order, put their food order through, and at 12:00 the kitchen would get cooking. RH let out a frustrated sigh explaining they were in a rush. I said I'd speak with the kitchen and see what we could do. The chefs agreed to accept the order but asked me to explain to the customers it may take a little longer than normal as they were still setting up for lunch. I report this to the ladies and RH begrudgingly accepts the compromise. I took their orders, gave drinks and waited for the chefs to do their part. After about 10 minutes RH calls me over. RH, how long does it take to cook a f***ing piece of fish? We've been waiting 30 minutes, whenever we input an order into the till, it prints the order with a timestamp. I can prove it's been 10 minutes. ME, I'm sorry you feel that way madam, but I'm afraid it has only been 10 minutes. And I believe I did explain to you it would be a little longer than normal as we weren't 100% set up for lunch. Perhaps you'd like another drink? F says it's fine, thanks me and gestures kindly that I'm not needed for the time being. However, RH is having none of it. RH, are you calling me a liar? ME, not at all madam. RH, I think you are, where's the manager? I explain there is no manager, it's just me. I pulled the time-stamped receipt from my pocket and begin point out the time the order was put through. RH snatches this from my hand, screws it up and throws it over her shoulder. It lands on a table where a lone lady is quietly drinking coffee. She shakes her head but decides not to say anything. RH is seething. RH, get me my f***ing fish you retarded Neanderthal. From my perspective, the rest of their visit is uneventful. They're getting ready to leave. F comes up to me, hands me a £10 tip and silently mouths the words I'm sorry. I say thank you and F turns to leave. RH, don't you dare tip this imbecile. She walks up to me, hand out. RH, give that to me. I'm done with this lady and just want her gone, so I'm starting to hand her the £10 when F insists and all but drags her out of the restaurant. It's now 10 minutes before the end of my shift and I pop to the kitchen to see the chefs. They start asking me questions about RH and explain they could hear her insulting me. Then they all begin smiling. I sense something's up and they proceed to tell me they mixed pubes and bogies into the sauce of her meal. I explain they shouldn't have done that, but she was being an idiot. My shift's over and before going home I need to go to the supermarket to pick up a few groceries. I head inside and after a few minutes I turn down an aisle and who do I see but our beloved RH. F is nowhere to be seen. I choose to ignore her and just get my shopping, but after a few moments she spots me and comes marching over. RH, you, give me that money. Me, no. RH, give it to me now or I will take it from you. I'm a pretty well-built guy and can take care of myself, and I just tut and begin walking away. RH, how dare you? RH then slaps me from behind and then proceeds to attempt to pull my wallet from my hand. After a short tussle I push her away and she falls, landing on her bum. At this point she begins wailing, playing the victim, and customers are looking over, security arriving soon afterwards. She doubles down on the victim role, explaining I had attacked her and they should call the police. I explain it's all shoot and she attacked me. The security guard is fairly level-headed and says don't worry, the CCTV would tell them who is telling the truth. RH face goes white as a sheet. The tapes were reviewed, police called and RH is arrested and marched out of the store in cuffs. I finish my shopping, head out of the store and RH is sat in the back of the police car and the window is rolled down about 3 inches. As I walk by, I tell her there were pubes in her fish sauce. I walk away and begin to hear her retching at the thought of the news I'd just given her. Note, I am in no way condoning messing with people's food like this. Simply sharing the story.